quickly giving you a high-level overview of what SpokePhone is. SpokePhone is a feature-rich softphone developed for Twilio. You may have heard a lead or a customer ask about, how do I transfer calls from Flex to my back office? Or do you have a cloud phone system for all my employees to replace my Cisco, Avaya 8x8, or other back office phone system solutions? Or even, I'm putting in Flex for my call center, but what are you going to do about replacing the phones for the rest of my business? SpokePhone provides this feature-rich softphone to replace a traditional PBX and move the back office communication into the cloud. So how does it all fit together in the Twilio ecosystem? Well, if you think about Flex as the front office tool for your contact center agents, then SpokePhone is the back office tool for every other employee. And together, Flex and Spoke brings end-to-end customer communication on Twilio. Flex for the front office and Spoke for the back office. SpokePhone also supports voice and text channels and can be installed on Windows or Mac computers, including Android and iOS mobile devices. In today's webinar, we're going to show you how to create a custom IVR and queue experience by integrating Twilio Studio into SpokePhone. The topics we will be covering is routing calls from Studio to Spoke for both users and groups, pulling calls back to Studio flows or Flex queues, and setting up call queues with Studio and Spoke. Twilio Studio provides the ability to create a rich, immersive IVR and increase customer experience when reaching out to your company. Calls can be delivered to both Flex and SpokePhone users in the front or back office through a single flow by using TWIML redirect widgets, check availability functions, and configuring the IVR endpoint to match your business needs and specifications. In this example, we are sending the call to the main IVR and providing the customer with 3 different options to choose from. We also perform a CRM lookup to show the customer details to the Spoke user receiving the call. Now, in the main IVR, for option 1, when option 1 is selected, this is for when the customer knows the extension of the person they're trying to call. After option 1 is selected, we send the call to an extension input IVR, and we're giving the customer the option or the ability to put in that extension. My extensions is 4-digit extension. So in this case, I'm going to be capturing 4 digits, but you know, companies, some have 3-digit extensions, some have 5-digit extensions. So that's customizable. After we capture the extension, we perform an availability lookup on that extension. And based on the data from that lookup, we then make a decision. If that extension is available to take a call, we send the call directly to that extension. However, if that extension is not available to take the call, we take the details about the user's extension and we play back to the customer. So this is the name. So in my case, this will play Leon is not available. Please hold for reception. And we send the call to the reception desk. This is what we call overflow logic, and this is fully customizable. If an extension is not available, you can play another IVR to a customer, giving them other options. Return to the main menu, talk to a different extension. In my example, I'm just overflowing to the reception group. So with that said, let's pivot to SpokePhone, make sure we are available, and then we actually put in the calls through this main IVR, and we're going to follow this option 1. So I'm going to open my Spoke application. You can see my traffic light is green on my availability, which means I am ready to take a call. So let's place a call in as a customer.
Thank you for calling SpokePhone. If you know the extension of the person you are trying to reach, please press 1. For general sales, press 2. To speak to a representative in our retail VIP team, press 3.
I'm going to press option 1.
Please enter the 4-digit extension for the person you're trying to reach.
I'm going to put in my extension 2004. System is performing the availability check, and I'm receiving the call because I am available. Right, so you can see the call is coming directly to me, my extension 2004. Customer is Leon. To pick up the call. Let me mute myself, and now I'm talking to this customer. Now, when you take a call in SpokePhone, you get normal soft phone functionality. This is your call controls: mute, hold, change your audio, transfer, conference. You can see my call is being recorded. But I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the call. Right, so that's option 1, when the user is available. However, let's change my availability to not available. So I'm going to set myself busy for the next 15 minutes. You can see I am not available. My traffic light is now yellow. And let's make that same call in again. So going back to our main IVR, and we just want to follow option 1.
Thank you for calling SpokePhone. If you know the extension of the person you are trying to reach, please press 1. For general sales, press 2. To speak to a representative in our retail VIP team, press 3.
Press 1.
Please enter the 4-digit extension for the person you're trying to reach.
Putting in my extension.
Leon Koertzen is not available. Please hold for reception.
I'm going through to the reception desk. So now you see the differences with this split. There's another status check we can perform. So I'm looking for available or not available. But there's one more to show if I'm on a call or not. And if I am on a call, you can include that in your studio flow and give your customer even more options. Just from the top of my head, something like Leon is busy on another call. You continue to hold to wait for him. Press 2 to leave a voicemail. Press 3 to return to the main menu. So you can build in more options into your flow. Right, so that's option 1. Now option 2 is for when you want to speak to the general sales team on SpokePhone. The call will be offered to the SpokePhone users that are skilled for that call group with a timeout value set. I think it's currently set to 30 seconds. I'm going to open the admin console for SpokePhone, and we're quickly going to have a look at the setup for that call group. So I'm going to log in as an administrator. I am going to go to call groups on the left menu, and I'm going to click on manage call groups. And I'm looking for the general sales call group. Let's do a quick search, general sales, and I'm going to edit this call group. And this is the configuration setup for this group. So you can see there's 3 users currently skilled for this group: Kyron, Leon, and Sarah. Now the first configurational item or calling rules that you have is what's the total timeout when someone phones this group? So mine is set to 30 seconds. Also, what's the offer pattern for this call group? You've got 2 choices. You can phone or ring everybody at the same time, like the old traditional hunt groups, or you can perform round robin work offer exactly like a call center. It will look for the highest available or highest idle agent or user, and then deliver the call to them. If they don't pick up the call within your offer pattern, which is set to 15 seconds, it will look for the next available user. And then what happens if no one picks up this call? So out of the box, you can send it to the voicemail. You can send it to another call group. You can send it to an external number. However, because I'm using Studio as my design, what I'm going to do in my instance is I'm going to send the call to the call group, but if no one picks it up, I'm actually going to pull the call back into Studio. I'm going to follow this return path, and I'm going to give an IVR to the customer saying, our team are currently assisting other callers. Please hold for the next available representative. However, you can also press 2 if you want to leave a voicemail, and one of the staff will return your call. So I'm not following the what happens if no one picks up, pulling the call back into Studio, and I decide what is the next logical step within my build. So let's make a call into that group. But before we do, let's just make sure I am available. So I think I'm still on busy, and you can see that because I'm yellow. Change back to available. I'm green. Let's do that call.
Thank you for calling SpokePhone. If you know the extension of the person you are trying to reach, please press 1. For general sales, press 2. To speak to a representative in our retail VIP team, press 3.
I'm going to press option 2.
Please hold for the next available representative.
The call is coming to me. I'm actually just going to mute myself. So you can see the call is going directly to the general sales call group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait my 30 seconds because I want to follow this return path. And then we're going to make a decision if we're going to continue to hold when we get to this IVR, or if we're going to press 2 to leave a voicemail.
Assisting other callers. Please hold for the next available representative. You can also press 2 if you want to leave a voicemail, and one of our staff will return your call.
I'm going to press option 2.
No one is available.
Hi, this is Leon. Please call me back at 737-202-1814. Thank you. Right, so I came to the voicemail piece. If I go back into my SpokePhone application, you can see I immediately have a notification at the bottom, and it's showing me that there was an unanswered team call for the general sales team. Showing in red because I missed it. If I do call them back, this will change back to black, so you can keep track of your missed calls within your call history. It's also showing me the voicemail icon, so I know a voicemail message was left on this call. If I click on it, I can read the transcription of the voicemail, or I can play it, or I can call the customer back, leave a note, send the customer an SMS, or just email these details to me. Right, so I'm going to place another call. However, this time we're not going to go to voicemail. We're just going to wait and see if we return back into the call group. So we're going to do one more test call.
Thank you for calling SpokePhone. If you know the extension of the person you are trying to reach, please press 1. For general sales, press 2. To speak to a representative in our retail VIP team, press 3.
Press option 2.
Please hold for the next available representative.
And again, I'm going to let this call go, but I'm not going to wait 30 seconds. I'm just going to decline this call.
Our team are currently assisting other callers. Please hold for the next available representative. You can also press 2 if you want to leave a voicemail, and one of our staff will return your call.
Just going to continue to hold. Call is coming back. Again, I can answer, or I can let it go. Let's just pick it up this time. Let's mute a few things. And I'm again talking to the customer with normal call controls. I'm going to disconnect that call. So that's the call group option. Now, option 3 is if the customer wants to talk to a representative in our retail VIP team, which is on Flex, they're not on Spoke. So I'm going to pivot. Let me log in as a Flex agent. going to put myself in an available status. I'm just going to double check that no one else is logged in. Okay, so going back into my studio flow. So when this call, when the customer presses option 3, it's going to go to the flex queue. The flex queue is configured to the retail VIP queue. So one more test call.
Thank you for calling Spoke Phone. If you know the extension of the person you are trying to reach, please press 1. For general sales, press 2. To speak to a representative in our retail VIP team, press 3.
We're pressing option 3. I'm going to mute that. Pivot to flex, and you can see the call is coming into the retail VIP queue. Picking it up, muting myself as an agent, and now I'm having a discussion with the customer. Now, what you see on the screen is the speedy Spoke operator console that a Flex agent can use to quickly and efficiently transfer calls to different places. However, this plugin and the plugin that lives on the transfer menu will be discussed on our webinar on Wednesday this week. And I encourage you to join that one. These plugins is pretty cool. However, for now, I'm going to find myself, transfer the call. I'm done with the call as a Flex agent. Call is coming back to me in Spoke. I can accept it and have that conversation with my customer. Right, so I want to summarize what we just did. So firstly, with option 1 in our studio flow, if the customer knew the extension, he put it in. We made sure that the user are available before sending calls out from studio into Spoke phone. If the user wasn't available, we had different fallback options that we could apply from within Studio. Also, on option 2, if we want to send calls to a team of users, right, or a group of users from Studio, you saw how we did that with the general sales team. We also returned unanswered Spoke calls to Studio. Like you saw when we press option 2 for the general sales, we actually followed the return path and pulled the call back into Studio, and we decided what the next logical step was going to be for the customer. We put in that queue IVR, telling the customer they are more than welcome to wait, or they can press option 2 to leave a voicemail. However, it's all customizable logic at that point. We also returned user data to Studio. So with option 1, if the customer puts in my extension, I wasn't available, the system played back to the customer, a personal message saying Leon is not available. And then I think in our case, it was just please hold for receptionist. However, if you think about pulling data into Studio, it's much more powerful than that, because you can perform data dips with CRMs or different API endpoints, pull data or variable data back into your Studio flow. And with that variable data, you can now make logical decisions. If the customer is a enterprise level account, follow this branch. If it's a standard account, follow a different branch. So now you can customize your flows based on data. And also making a basic queue in Studio. You saw with option number 2, we had the queue IVR, and if the customer didn't leave a voicemail, they went back into that call group, and that adhered to the timeout values set from within that group. And lastly, blending Flex and Spoke together in the single flow to make sure the customer gets the call of the customer gets answered by the correct person in the correct place. All right, so I want to open the floor for questions. Chan, back to you.
Thanks, Leon. So we did have one question from Antony. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Is it mandatory to have Flex and Spoke phone together, or can we get Spoke phone in standalone? For voice and phone number, is it through Twilio or your own infrastructure?
That's a great question. So on the first part of it, no, you don't need Flex and Spoke together. Depending on the use case of your customer, some customers have a call center and they would want to install Flex for the call center and Spoke for the back office. Some customers don't have a call center and they just want a cloud-based phone system solution. So you can install Spoke standalone and link it to their Twilio account. So it's together or separate, either way. And then on the second part of the questions about your phone numbers, we are developed on top of Twilio. So our product, SpokePhone, just links to your Twilio account, sits on top of your Twilio account, and we look at the phone numbers you've got configured in your account. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to pivot screens quickly. So going back to my Twilio account, my phone numbers is in my account, and I can go to active numbers, and you can see all my different numbers configured within my Twilio account. Now my Spoke account is just linked to my Twilio account. So if I go to the Spoke administrator console and I click on phone numbers, manage numbers, all it's doing is we performing an API call to your Twilio account, and we pull all the numbers you have in your account into our view. And then we show you a different icon. So if a number was activated on SpokePhone, we'll show you a Spoke icon. And how do we know it's activated? Because we changed your TWIML app on your phone number in Twilio to the SpokePhone TWIML app. And if it's not activated on SpokePhone, we just show you a Twilio icon. Everything lives within your Twilio account. We just link to your account.
Thanks, Leon. We have another question from Jonas. Are you guys providing a set of fully ready functions to integrate into Studio, like availability, text, or others, or should the customers write them?
We provide Spoke functions already developed out of the box, and you can just go and install them. So if I go to functions and services, I'll just show you our current functions. So the ones is called Spoke API services. And within there, we've got a few different functions. So we've got get extension. That's the one I use today in my Studio Flow. So I'm going to pivot to see if the extension is available or not. So I use the get extension function. However, you can also do get directory. So you can get all the directory or list of directories for all the extensions in a company and play more options to your customers through your IVR process.
Okay, thanks, Leon. We can open up to the floor if anybody else has questions. Please feel free to raise your hand and we'll be happy to answer. Okay. Well, so if you do have questions after the webinar, please feel free to reach out to one of us. I believe Leon has a public calendar at leonfortson@spokephone.com. And for myself, you can find my email address in the following communications. But with that said, thank you so much for taking your time to join us today. I hope to see you on our next session. And thank you so much and have a good day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.